The U.S. and Iran are in the middle of negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, as the Trump administration wants to stop Iran from enriching enough uranium to build an actual bomb.
Now, reports indicate that they might be 1 to 2 weeks away from having enough high-quality enriched uranium to create a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
So we're really counting down the clock here of how much time we have until shit has to get really serious.
Yes. And the kind of implication by Trump has been that if Iran does get enough to make a bomb, then he will bomb the hell out of them.
And I have to give Trump credit for one thing. You know, while I was home for Easter, I celebrate Orthodox Easter with my family, and my dad's a Trump supporter. And he asked me, he's like, "What did Trump? Can you say anything Trump has done that you agree with?" And I said, "You know what? One thing I agree with is that he's entering negotiations with Iran instead of just bombing them right away."
Sure.
That is one thing that I am like, thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you. Thank him for not just bombing them right away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
relatively, it's good.
There are people in his administration that want him to bomb Iran right away. Apparently, Netanyahu and the Israeli delegation was pushing Trump extremely hard to just start the bombing right away. And then Trump said no.
Okay.
And he's been walking it back. And that is positive.
Why do you think that is?
View. I think that Trump does not want to start a war.
He cares more about the deal maker image, right?
Yes, he is. This is not the war that he wants to fight. Okay,
sure.
There may be a war that he wants to fight at some point over certain regions in North America. There is no war that he wants to fight inside of Iran. He does not want to enter the Middle East.
Yeah.
He knows how that ends for presidents, and he does not want to be that type of president.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty clear.
I agree with
that. But
what's
making this difficult is he's entering these conversations with Iran, and we have to remember in 2015, Barack Obama's one of his main foreign policy achievements was signing an Iran nuclear program agreement with the Iranian government, basically limiting the amount of uranium that they were allowed to enrich and capping the level in which they are allowed to enrich uranium. So, like, in order for civilian energy production, you only need, I'm not a nuclear expert, okay? You only need to enrich it a certain amount. And make a weapon, you enrich it like a lot more. So Obama was like, okay, you could enrich it to this much, and then we're going to lower your sanctions, and then in like 10 years, your enrichment restrictions will go away.
Okay.
And then the Republicans and the conservatives back in 2015 were like, that's ridiculous. The Israel hated this because they were like, you're just kicking the can down the road. In 10 years, they're going to have become so much better at enriching uranium. Then in 10 years, they'll be able to make a bomb in a second. But Obama's theory was, if we get them to the table, we build a relationship, 10 years from now, we can extend the deal.
Okay.
Trump comes into office in 2017, he rips the agreement up.
Yep.
Now here we are again in 2025. Now Trump has to be the one to make an Iran deal, and it looks like its best case scenario is going to be what Obama did.
Would there be a significant difference if instead of saying you can enrich this much uranium, that if they said if we said you can have enriched uranium but only from us, you can't enrich your own?
I'm so glad you brought that up. So that is the position of Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Okay.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says we can give you civilian enriched uranium, civilian grade enriched uranium. We will give that to you. We will provide that to you so you can have nuclear energy if you want, but you cannot have an internal enrichment program. Now this is currently what the United Arab Emirates has, and it's considered like the gold standard of a deal. That's what's like considered like, that's like peak. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is Witkoff, the main lead negotiator for Trump in Iran, is saying an opposite position, saying that they will have some enrichment capacity.
Okay.
Now, if Witkoff is saying this and Rubio's saying something else, that leads us to be confused. I don't know what Iran takes as truth.
Yeah.
I don't know what Iran is assuming is the truth coming out of the Trump administration. Now, obviously, there's going to be a ton of negotiations, so like it's not fair to judge them yet, I guess.
I think so I'm wondering, why is Witkoff's position looser?
Yes.
Right. And it's hard to say. I mean Witkoff is a bit of a Russophile.
Yeah.
Like
I would agree.
Yeah, he's pro Russia and he's tasked to deal with Russia in the Russia-Ukraine negotiations. So I do wonder if there's something on the table for him to not weaken them too much.
Yes.
Which is very conspiratorial. But I don't know. It feels like it makes sense to go with the Emirates level deal.
But it might be that Iran doesn't want the Emirates level deal, and Witkoff has already triangulated this position, and Rubio is still stuck on the hardline position.
It's just hard for me to believe that Iran would be okay with the bombing that is about to come to it if it declines the hardline position that the U.S.
So that's what we have to get to here.
Yeah.
Is if Iran does not make a deal, the United States and Israel, or Israel with backing from the United States, will be bombing the hell out of Iran.
Yes.
And will be hitting these nuclear sites, which could cause massive damage. You don't want to be dropping conventional weapons on enriched uranium.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're in a very, very dangerous predicament here. The Trump administration has to play this very carefully. They're playing a very high-stake game of operation here. And, I think that the Trump administration's best-case scenario is doing exactly what Obama did. Now, I'm already reading in the press from conservative news outlets pushing back against Trump from going through with that type of deal, saying that you're doing exactly what Obama did, you're going to look like a fool. And so now Trump is getting pulled in different directions because he doesn't want to do exactly what Obama did, because he'll look like an idiot to the rest of the world and to a portion of the United States that listens and cares about these things. And he doesn't want that. So he's in a his ego is in danger.
Yes, his reputation.
His reputation's in danger. The nation is in danger. We're in the threat of war, and I don't think Trump has. I don't see a way of him to wiggle his way out of this.
Well, do you think it gets to the point you said 1 week or 2 weeks until Iran has enough enriched uranium to make a bomb? So do you think they get to a point where, like, if the negotiations aren't going well enough, Iran's like, we have a bomb, and we will drop it?
It's possible that Iran may achieve nuclear deterrence if we do not get a deal or bomb fast enough. And then Iran becomes a new player on this stage.
Oh my God.
Which gets really fucking scary, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'm Israel and I know that they're a week or two out,
you're bombing them.
I'm bombing them right now.
So
why
waiting.
aren't they bombing them right now? Do you think?
They must be giving Trump.
They're trying to give him a little bit more time.
They're trying to give him a little bit more time to figure this out.
Okay.
And I'm also hesitant about the 1 to 2 week reports.
Sure.
Obviously, because that could obviously be fear-mongering to push the deal as fast as possible, to push them for a bombing, right? So that's definitely up in the air. But there's no doubt about it that Iran is close to a bomb. There's no doubt that the Trump administration has to make a diplomatic deal here fast. And I don't actually understand why this didn't start on January 21st if we knew we were this close to a bomb. I don't really get that. Obviously, I don't know. I don't really know how the handoff went with Biden to Trump.
No.
Obviously. But we also know that the transition team that was during the Trump transition was very, very understaffed.
Sure.
The transition was less. There was less transition time between administrations than has ever been done since World War II. So obviously there was a misunderstanding of the stakes. I don't know. One
thing I do know is that sanctions from the Treasury have been ramping up for months. So that they might have been trying to get those to a higher pressure level to actually go into the negotiations with.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It seems like we've now backed Iran into a corner and the cat's getting scared. And they might actually grow some teeth and be able to bite back for once.